In this lecture, we are going to take a look at the omega notation. If we have a function fn, can we find a function cgn which will be the lower bound of fn for all values of n greater than equal to n naught? So if we talk in terms of the time complexity of algorithm, so if fn is the growth rate of the algorithm and n is the size of the input, then can we find a function cgn which will be the function which will be binding this fn from the lower side? So in a way it can be indicative of the best case scenario of function fn. Now if cgn is the lower bound, then fn will be greater than equal to cgn for all values of n greater than n naught, and c and n naught, they are positive constants. If we can find a value of c and n naught, then we say fn is omega of gn. This indicates that this function fn can never do better than the specified value. That means the best it can perform is cgn. But yes, it can definitely do worse than this. Let's take an example. If fn is 3n plus 2 and gn is n, and we have to prove that fn is omega of gn. So by definition, if gn is binding this function fn from below, fn will be greater than equal to cgn for n greater than n0 and c and n naught being positive values. So 3n plus 2 has to be greater than equal to c gn, and gn is n. Dividing both sides by n, we have 3 plus 2 divided by n is greater than equal to c. That means c has to be less than whatever is the minimum value that can happen on the left hand side. C has to be less than that also. So when will this be minimum? 3 plus 2 by n. This will be minimum when this becomes 0. So if n tends to infinity, 2 by n will become 0. So the minimum value that can happen on the left hand side is 3. That means the maximum value of c can be 3. So we can say that 3n plus 2 is greater than equal to 3n, and this would be true for all values of n naught greater than equal to 1. We cannot take n naught as 1 because n naught has to be a positive constant. So we know that this inequality would be satisfied for all n naught equal to greater than 1. And since we have been able to find a value of c and n naught, we say fn is omega of gn, and gn is n, so fn is omega of n. Let's take another example. Fn is 5n square plus 2n plus 1 and gn is n square. We have to prove that fn is omega of gn. By definition, fn has to be larger than equal to cgn because cgn is binding this function from below. So putting the value of fn and gn is n square, and dividing both sides by n square, we get this 5 plus 2 by n plus 1 upon n square greater than equal to c. C has to be less than whatever is the minimum value over here. So if n becomes infinity, if n tends to infinity, 2 by n and 1 upon n square both would tend to be 0. So the minimum value that this function on the left hand side can have is 5. That means the maximum value that c can have is 5. So 5n square plus 2n plus 1 has to be greater than equal to 5n square, and this would be true for all values of n greater than 1. Since we have been able to find a value of c and a value of n naught, we say fn is omega of n square. Another example. Fn is 3n plus 3, Gn is n square. Is Fn omega of n square? That means Fn has to be larger than equal to n square at all times. Dividing both sides by n square, we will get 3 upon n plus 3 upon n square greater than equal to Cn square. N square has gone. Can we find a positive constant C which will satisfy this inequality? Can we find a single value of positive constant C? We cannot. So we say that this Fn is not omega of n square. Even otherwise, you see, Fn would be, it's linear. So Fn would be this. N square is here in this class. N square can never be the lower bound for a function which is of the order n. So this is how we say whether a function is the lower bound of a given function or not.